And so when hip hop started, it's Latino and black, half and half. But they going at me because I'm like the only Spanish dude, like really with a big voice. Fuck that. And Latinos wasn't there. You was invited. You are a specimen. I don't know what the fuck is up with these people that don't know their facts.
Puerto Ricans, do you feel like they played a part in creating hip hop?
Absolutely not.
In the United States, where the multicultural, because the U.S. ain't got no culture. They shit is all our shit. A bunch of our shit is what makes the U.S. whatever you want to call it. We still don't know what that culture is for the U.S., but it's a mix-up of all of our cultures in the urban community. You know, the Latino and the West Indian has the greatest influence, and we've always had, and we'll always will, and it's just been that way. So
let's start by this. These rumors were made by radical black racists. Let's just say that. Okay? It's a group of these guys that don't want to hear Jamaican, don't want to hear Guyanese, they don't want to hear a black guy that ain't down with them. Right? So their job is to criticize anybody who don't look like them or who ain't black American.
Who are these guys?
You want me to say their name? We're gonna give them too much clout. The FBA, Foundational Black Authority.
Foundational Black American.
Whoever the fuck these broke niggas.
People who innovate and create and love.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Who created this?
Who invented?
Who invented?
Who invented?
Hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, ah!
Who invented?
Who invented?
Who invented?
Who invented hip hop?
Just say anything. Like, share, and subscribe.
You're not just saying that?
I never just say anything.
This video is not intended to offend anyone or spread misinformation. Our goal is to entertain, inform, and encourage thoughtful conversations about the topics we explore.
Who invented hip-hop? This question has sparked debates among music historians, cultural commentators, and hip-hop enthusiasts. Some argue that Jamaicans and Puerto Ricans were integral to its creation, with prominent voices like Fat Joe and Busta Rhymes supporting this perspective. However, others assert that hip-hop was birthed by foundational Black Americans, FBAs. In this exploration, we aim to uncover the origins of hip-hop, analyze its foundational elements, and showcase how FBAs laid its groundwork, including the crucial contribution of knowledge of self to its cultural DNA.
U.S. ain't got no culture.
Before diving into its origins, let us define what hip-hop truly encompasses. Hip-hop is more than just music, it is a cultural movement that includes multiple elements that together define its essence. These elements form the pillars of hip-hop culture. Before diving into its origins, let us define what hip-hop truly encompasses. Hip-hop is more than just music, it is a cultural movement that includes multiple elements that together define its essence. These elements form the pillars of hip-hop culture. So what are the 5 elements of hip-hop? Breaking, b-boying, breaking, often referred to as breakdancing, is one of the most visual components of hip-hop. While some attribute its origins to Latinos, such as Crazy Legs of the Rocksteady Crew, its roots can be traced back to foundational influences like James Brown's dance moves in the 1960s and earlier forms of African American dance. Performers like Sammy Davis Jr. displayed acrobatics and rhythmic movements as far back as the 1940s, proving that this element predates hip-hop's emergence in the Bronx.
everything, all the breaking and stuff like that was considered underground. And so Kool Herc brought everything out into the open. And that was like, say, 74, 75. All the underground stuff, all the in-house, all the hallway dances, and all the house party dances were brought out to the street. And the more they took it to the street, the more nationalities got involved in it. You know, it was no longer an Afro-American thing. The Hispanic took to the dance.
I know for a fact that when I went to some parts, it was rare to see a Puerto Rican dancer breaking. And when they did, it was like, oh shit, check out the Puerto Rican b-boy, you know?
A lot of people used to call it like, yo, you know, like the Latinos, you know, Moreno means black, you know, they'd be like, yo, that's that Moreno style, you know, and that's the original style of b-boying.
Though black kids invented breaking as we know it, as we understand it, it was the Puerto Rican kids that put breakers on their backs.
Batch is one of the first Hispanic breakers ever.
Don't forget, I'm 35 years old, eh?
South Soul was the crew where basically we all came out of. The first all Hispanic breaking crew. After South Soul, Batch started up the TBB crew, and they were a big crew.
We was one of the best breakdancing crews out there.
Our sound system is on the U.S. side. That's the Smith Brothers. Respect them. Soul Brothers from out of Brooklyn. You play Nell Gwynns. Respect them. I don't know if it's a Jamaican crew, but I know the Soul Brothers play Nell Gwynns at 42nd Street. Okay. And you have brothers like Plummer, LaBoya, Flowers, and the Disco Twins. And their boys was really into technology and big, heavy sound. With me,
yeah. So other than like the weather and the environment, what about the culture? How hard was it for you to get into the culture?
Well, I could say one thing. It wasn't fashionable being a Jamaican at one point. It wasn't.
Right.
And I never hid my culture. Really, I never did. Well, I was getting Americanized, though.
All right, everybody. Let this run around your mind for a minute. And I hate this damn topic, man. It's so stupid. But people from the outside always think they know what's going on somewhere else. So imagine this. Imagine trying to tell the story of hip-hop and removing the photos of Joe Conzo and removing the original recordings of jams by a brother named Tape Master. Now, both of them are Puerto Rican. I believe Tape Master is Puerto Rican. But if you remove all of those images and all of those tapes, you could not even tell the story properly. So, like, you know, that's not even talking about the people who also contributed to the art. So wrap that shit around your lips.
I feel like that you're challenging them to say, basically, and you clear this up, this is what I'm saying, hip-hop started with black people, black culture. From the beginning, the DNA of hip-hop, like we spoke about, the DNA of hip-hop is sampling. Sampling, we sampled old jazz records, R&B records, things of that nature.
Disco,
we weren't
funk,
sampling merengue
soul,
and Julio Iglesias, and they weren't sampling...
Or Yellow Man,
they
or none of that.
sampling Yellow Man for records. The origin of hip-hop comes from black people, black music,
Black American
youth, period. Break dancing, everything. Now, explain to me like how you broke it down. Explain to them like how you broke it down to me, because it made 100% sense.
Well, you just broke it down just now. All I said was what you just said. I didn't say that Puerto Rican people weren't on the scene while this was going on. I didn't say that people of Caribbean lineage weren't some of the first to DJ and all of that. Kool Herc was of Jamaican lineage.
Yeah.
What we're saying is that everything that they were doing was a black American thing.
They
had to play black American music. They had to dress like black Americans.
Ooh, okay, I
They
understand.
had to talk like black Americans.
Okay.
They had to everything like black Americans.
I'm adding
and
on
there
to
was
yeah. they weren't doing Jamaican. They weren't culture to get to hip hop. They were using the black experience to get to hip hop.
Ooh. There is nothing Puerto Rican or Hispanic about hip hop. There are no infused words. You see how we say rap ciphers? That came out of 5% Nation because the 5% Nation has been in hip hop since its inception.
The US ain't got no culture.
MCing, rapping, the art of rapping, delivering rhymes, storytelling, and rhythm has deep roots in African oral traditions. Spoken word and toasting practices among FBAs set the stage for the modern-day MC. Grandmaster Caz and Kool Herc are often celebrated for formalizing MCing during hip-hop's early days in the Bronx. But doing some research may tell another story. The impact of James Brown, often called the Godfather of Soul, on hip-hop cannot be overstated. His dynamic performances, rhythmic innovations, and cultural significance paved the way for foundational elements of hip-hop, particularly DJing and breaking. James Brown and the breakbeat. James Brown's music, especially tracks like Funky Drummer and Give It Up or Turn It A Loose, became staples for early hip-hop DJs. These songs featured isolated drum patterns, or breaks, that DJs like Kool Herc identified as ideal for creating extended dance segments. Herc's merry-go-round technique, where he looped the break sections from 2 records, was directly inspired by the structure and energy of Brown's music. Kool Herc's admiration for James Brown. Kool Herc often credited James Brown as one of his primary influences. Growing up in the Bronx, Herc observed how Brown's music energized parties and brought communities together. Brown's ability to blend rhythm and performance inspired Herc to replicate that same level of excitement through his DJing. In interviews, Herc described how he sought to extend the breaks in Brown's music to keep dancers moving, a technique that would become a cornerstone of hip-hop culture. James Brown's dance moves and breaking. James Brown's signature dance style, characterized by intricate footwork, spins, and splits, heavily influenced the development of breaking, b-boying. Early breakers often emulated his movements, integrating them into their own routines. While breaking evolved into a distinct art form, its roots in Brown's performances are undeniable. His influence bridged the gap between African American performance traditions and the emerging hip-hop dance culture.
Jamaica in 67, and came here, my mother was, learning about nursing, so she used to bring Smokey Robinson records, some Motown records down, plus my father bringing records from the wharf.
And that's your next foundation?
That's foundation. When I left from Jamaica, I came up here with a heavy accent. That's how I'm going back.
I still got mine, I'm not losing.
But, I come here and I try to apply reggae music to the American kids, and the heavy accent in the record, them couldn't understand it. Then Bob Marley, the Wailers came along and emphasized more on his vocabulary and the words, and people start pick up on it. So when Eric Clapton made I Shot the Sheriff, I know that was a reggae record. I know that was a reggae record. So right there now I use a lot of James Brown, a lot of, bass line in it, because James Brown is like a preacher to me. James Brown is another link. James Brown is another link.
Not a foundation.
Yes, I use his music and a few other, white groups like, Rare Earth, a record called Get Ready, and then the Isley Brothers, a record called Get Into Something, and then some other records that I pick out because I don't play the stuff that radio play. I play stuff that they should be playing. And while you come to my dance, I hear records that nobody else have. So I can scratch out the name of the records. My woman says scratch out the name of the record so everybody else don't have it.
Yeah. That's what it used to be from back in the day, because we used to listen before we started make our own music in Jamaica. We used to listen to pure American music. People like Ruth Brown, James Brown, Smiley Lewis, Fats Domino, Louis Prima and Louis Jordan. Them man there, you understand?
And see, I started the rap music.
Woman is a strong rap. Hey!
It's still the best country without a doubt. And if anybody says it ain't, you just try to put them out. They ain't going nowhere. You got a good fight. When I told you one time that I was a shoe shine boy, every word I said, I meant. But name me any other country, you can start as a shoe shine boy and shake hands with the president.
What do you think of music around today, especially things like hip-hop and Run DMC and the Beastie Boys?
Well, those are poor copies, well, not poor copies, but they're copies of what they thought I was doing in the 60s, like Let the Brother Rap.
To me, the brother got the rap.
What they're doing is things I did years ago.
Do the front, you do the freak spank, I do the bump, and when the sucker MCs try to prove a point with Trevor's trio, or with a serious joiner from sun to sun and from day to day, I sit down and write a brand new rhyme.
But see, rap music is kind of a variation. I mean, it's like the end of a James Brown song, what we would do at the very end.
I got a woman who knows just good God, I got a woman who just won't quit she won't stop loving, but just a little bit she's fine as wine, that's my kind.
Saying that Joe has been saying racist stuff about black people. I'm not shocked. That whole, we created hip hop, black and Latinos 50-50, that was a hostile statement to make. Based in anti-black racism. Because number one, it was a lie. Number two, it's a colonizer mindset. We're not accepting lies. Number one, there was no Puerto Rican and black creating hip hop 50-50. That's a lie. The Puerto Ricans were not there in the beginning, helping to create hip-hop, that's a lie. There were no Puerto Ricans rapping in the early 70s or before. If they say they were, that's a lie. They were not DJing then, that's a lie. They were not b-boying then, they came later. All of that is a lie to say they were. And then when you point out that they weren't there in the very beginning and you can show the pioneers who were there, they started to lie on some of the early pioneers by saying that they were Puerto Rican. Like the first b-boys, Sasa and Trixie. They used to run around here lying that Sasa and Trixie were Puerto Rican. Both of those men are in microphone check. They said, no, we are not no Puerto Rican. We're from South Carolina. We're from the Carolinas. Not only are we not Puerto Rican, when we were dancing, wasn't no Puerto Ricans around. They said this in microphone check. Then they tried to lie. Crazy Legs went on Drink Champs and told that lie that Disco King Mario, who's a very, very unsung pioneer of hip hop, he lied and said he was Puerto Rican. We had Mario's family in microphone check. We ain't Puerto Rican. Nobody in our family is Puerto Rican. We all black people from North Carolina. We had to clear up lies. We're not going to let people just go out here lying their asses off just for the hell of it. And Fat Joe was talking about, FBAs are racist. Yeah, these are some black radical racists and all of this stuff because we ain't letting people lie. No, we're not racist because we're checking people and their lies. You're not going to lie indefinitely. Yeah, because Trixie was light-skinned, they tried to make him Puerto Rican. No. That man said, I am not no Puerto Rican. And wasn't no Puerto Ricans dancing with us when we started.
Graffiti, one of hip-hop's foundational elements, is a vibrant and visual art form that uses urban landscapes as its canvas. Emerging as a form of expression in the 1960s and 1970s, graffiti was heavily influenced by the social and political struggles of the time. Foundational Black Americans were among the early pioneers who used graffiti to narrate their stories, protest against systemic injustice, and claim space in a world that often marginalized them. Philadelphia, in particular, played a crucial role in the early graffiti movement, with artists like Daryl Cornbread McRae leading the charge.
I was the only person in the world who wrote his name on the walls for the sole purpose of establishing a reputation. I changed the historical course of my generation and generations that followed me and gave birth to a global phenomenon. My name is Daryl McCray, AKA Cornbread. I am the first element of hip hop, 1965. I wrote my name on the walls day in, day out, every day, everywhere.
Cornbread is often regarded as one of the first graffiti writers, tagging his name across the city to gain recognition and establish his identity. His influence set the stage for graffiti to become a key component of hip-hop culture when it spread to New York City and other urban centers. Graffiti was not merely about tagging names, it became a visual language that conveyed the struggles, dreams, and creativity of Black youth. As it evolved, graffiti transformed into elaborate murals and pieces that blended bold colors, intricate designs, and powerful messages. This art form served as a megaphone for those whose voices were often silenced, creating a permanent mark on urban culture. Moreover, graffiti became a way to reclaim public spaces. Walls, subway cars, and buildings that once stood as symbols of neglect were turned into vibrant showcases of resilience and artistry. These visual narratives mirror the ethos of hip-hop itself, a movement that emerged from adversity and turned struggle into power. While graffiti has since gained mainstream recognition and entered galleries and museums worldwide, its roots in the hip-hop movement and the contributions of foundational Black Americans remain undeniable. The vibrant art form continues to inspire, reminding us of the creativity and determination that birthed hip-hop culture. Rap, or MCing, is one of the core pillars of hip-hop. It represents the art of lyrical storytelling and vocal performance over a beat, a practice deeply rooted in African-American oral traditions. The role of the MC, master of ceremonies, evolved from simply hyping up the crowd to becoming the central figure in delivering rhymes that reflect the struggles, aspirations, and culture of the community. Foundational Black Americans contributed significantly to this element by drawing from gospel sermons, spoken word poetry, and the rhythmic cadences of the Black Power movement. There are even early recordings of renditions of rapping going as far back as the 1940s with groups like the Delta Rhythm Boys and the Jubilaires. The Delta Rhythm Boys showcased rhythmic, spoken delivery that mirrors the cadence and style of early MCs. The Jubilaires, with their track Noah, performed a proto-rap style narrative that seamlessly blended rhythmic storytelling with musicality. These recordings highlight how foundational Black Americans were experimenting with the spoken word tradition long before hip-hop's emergence.
It's very simple and it's easy to do. Why don't you fall up down and dig some jive that's new? You'll find the hip cats doing it and even the squares. If you don't dig it, you ain't nowhere. If you say something clever or tell a big lie, or get a sly wink from a chick passing by, when you know you're so sharp in the game that you play, you're so smooth, they got to say, give me some. You dig me, give me some. It's easy, give me some. All you do, Jack, is hit your hand in mine. Give me some.
Hey, children, stop, still, and listen to me. God walked down to the brandy sea. He declared that he was a sinful man, and then he decided to destroy the land. He spoke to Noah. Noah stopped. He said, Noah, I want you to build me an ark. I want you to build it 3 cubits long. I want you to build it big and strong. I want it 50 high and 50 wide, so it will stand the wind and tide. It's oh, Noah, oh, Noah.
the desegregation decisions and other type of legislation and Supreme Court decisions depends upon changing the white man's mind. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that our own mind has to be changed. We have to change our mind about ourselves.
In what way?
Well, so he teaches us the importance of moral reformation, a knowledge of self. And for instance, the average so-called Negro, he doesn't think that he can go into business and provide jobs for himself. And because of this, he thinks that he can only get a job from the white man, or he can only get clothes from the white man, or he can only get food from the white man. And we who follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad are taught that the same thing that the white man has done for himself and his kind, if our people could if we could be cured of our slave mentality that was indoctrinated into us during slavery, we would realize that just as the white man can do these things for himself and his kind, we can get together in unity and harmony and do the same thing for ourselves and our kind.
Knowledge of self, the heart of hip-hop. The concept of knowledge of self is often considered the fifth element of hip-hop. While breaking, MCing, DJing, and graffiti are tangible, knowledge of self serves as the intangible spiritual and intellectual foundation of the culture. It represents an awareness of one's history, identity, and purpose, a concept that empowered black youth in the face of systemic oppression. This element finds its roots in the teachings of movements like the Nation of Islam, NOI, and the 5% Nation, FPN, which emphasized self-awareness, pride in black heritage, and the pursuit of enlightenment, the teachings of the Nation of Islam and the 5% Nation. The NOI, under the leadership of figures like Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X, taught black empowerment through self-reliance, discipline, and pride in African heritage. The FPN, an offshoot of the NOI founded by Clarence 13X, distilled these teachings into a framework that resonated deeply with urban black youth. They coined terms like gods and earths to symbolize the divine potential within black men and women. The teachings of the FPN, such as the Supreme Mathematics and Supreme Alphabet, became cultural tools for understanding the world and one's place within it. These philosophies directly influenced hip-hop pioneers who sought to channel their music and art as vehicles for social change and empowerment. By integrating knowledge of self into their work, these artists gave hip-hop its distinctive intellectual and spiritual depth.
Jamaicans invented hip-hop.
Understand, this whole hip-hop shit was birthed from Jamaica. Like, Kool Herc is a Jamaican nigga. Okay. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The whole concept of having big-ass speakers stockpiled on top of each other and playing loud-ass music outside, that come from Jamaica. That's dancehall culture. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So Kool Herc brought dancehall culture to the U.S. and gave birth to hip-hop culture. The only thing that changed was the type of music that was played and how it was played. But the concept is the same.
Hip-hop is undoubtedly a cultural phenomenon that has touched every corner of the globe. While contributions from various groups are undeniable, the foundation of hip-hop is firmly rooted in the creativity, resilience, and cultural heritage of foundational black Americans. Through elements like breaking, MCing, DJing, graffiti, and knowledge of self, FBAs created a movement that transcends music, a movement that continues to inspire and empower generations. This exploration is not about diminishing the contributions of any other culture or group, but about informing and giving credit where it is due. Just as history has attempted to rewrite the origins of other FBA-created music genres and cultural movements, like rock and roll, jazz, blues, and even country, hip-hop's true roots must be acknowledged and celebrated. Recognizing the foundational role of FBAs in hip-hop ensures that the legacy of this transformative culture remains intact and respected for generations to come. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the origins of hip-hop and its foundational Black American roots. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Just Say Anything for more thought-provoking content just like this. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Share this video with your friends, and let's keep the conversation going in the comments below. And remember, as always, y'all hold it down. See you in the next one.
Just Say Anything. Like,
share, and subscribe.
You're not just saying that?
I never just say anything.